If you're ready to make your watercolors great and get the attention that they deserve, then you need to learn this one key secret to change the way you paint. Watercolor painting will become more exciting, it'll be easier, and it'll be more fun, and your paintings will get more compliments. A lot of us think that if we just practice watercolor consistently, that we'll automatically improve. But we need to be purposeful in order to improve our watercolors quickly. What am I talking about? Tonal values. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 ways to learn and practice the range of values you need to make more dynamic watercolor paintings. My paintings improved by incorporating both light and dark values. I consistently get into jury competitions and sell paintings. Tonal value is simply how light or dark a color is. Here are some Daniel Smith colors that are also represented with their monochromatic values. How do we use this in a painting? See how this first rendition of this painting looks washed out and faded, but when I increase the value, it pops. The first step in learning about values in watercolor is to do a value chart. I have a value chart that I did last year with my students, and it has 9 rectangles. I've drawn an empty one that I'm going to fill in for you now. I've wet my watercolor a little bit. Going light to dark, I need the pigment to be pretty light, so this being our model. You can see a gradual progression from no pigment at all to pigment that's pretty much straight out of the tube. And that's how you do a value chart. How do we begin to perceive value? Other than squinting at your subject to see the lights and darks, you can use an app called SeValue. SeValue lets you use the photos in your photo library, or you can take a photo right where you are and use it immediately. I've opened a photo from my photo library and it appears in black and white. There are filters you can use to look at the value in different ways. Level 2 gives you 2 values and you can change the ratio of black to white. Level 3, it gives you white, gray, and black. Level 4 gives you white, 2 shades of gray, and black. Once you see something you like, you can save to your photo library. I find this app really handy when I'm trying to see values in my reference photos. Now that you made your value chart, what's the next step? When I'm preparing a painting, particularly if I'm working plein air, I like to do a value sketch, and I do them in pencil. Here you can see some value sketches that I did actually not too long ago, to help me not only work out the composition, but to figure out what the values are going to be. How dark do I need to go? Particularly with this one, you can see different values, like the tree is dark here, I've got some dark areas in the waves, and then lighter areas in the grasses in the foreground. I'm starting with an outline of the apple. Now this apple is set on the table so you don't see any horizon. Now I'm going to do a value study using paint. Today I'll be using indigo blue. I've mixed up a puddle of light value indigo blue in my palette. And I've tested it on my test paper, so it looks all right. In the sketch, you'll see I've indicated where the highest highlights are, and I'll leave the paper white there. You can see I lost my highlight there. And I'm taking a damp brush to soften the edge on this side and in the shadow. Because this is in a notebook, I can probably lift the highlight I lost. Let's see if I can do that. These bristles are called golden taklon, and they're a little stiff. And that makes them good for lifting. See that? Let me do it left-handed. Pushing with the bristles. Okay, just needed to mix up enough paint. So I'm going to try to do this all in one go. And what this will do is it will emphasize the light that is gleaming on the edge of the apple. See how this has started to dry? I'm going to have a problem if I don't go over it, and you have to make sure it's the same wetness in the entire area you just worked, or you get a blossom. And I talk like blossoms are bad. They're bad when you don't want them. They're great when you do. Here's the benefit of a value study. It has dried, and I can see some differences between what I've painted and what I'm looking at on my desk. That's a way to practice your painting. If you do a pencil sketch and then you do a watercolor value study, you've actually practiced it twice. So when you do the painting, it's your third time. And I find that I have a lot more accuracy when I do that. I'm going to add more pigment to get the shape correct. Let's look at the values in this value study. I have the lightest, which is the white of the paper, and then I have the darkest, which is the stem, and this final shadow right underneath the apple where it's sitting on the desk, and then I have various values in between. And so I feel that that's dynamic enough and helps me understand what values I will need when I paint this in color. Now I'm going to paint the apple in color. I've set my value study to the side so I can refer to it to help me through the painting process. The colors I'm using are cadmium red, scarlet hue, Pyrrole red, Perylene maroon, and I'll use just a little touch of indanthrone blue in some of the shadows. I also have green gold for the green of the apple and a little bit of Hansa yellow light for the yellow in the apple. As in the value study, I'm going to start with a lighter value wash. I will do a lot of wet and wet in this one. And now I'm going to go back to this part of the apple to work in some of that yellow. I'm going to tilt the paper a little bit because I can see the streaks. So just need to tilt it a little bit. I'm starting to lose my highlight a little bit, which is not a sharp highlight. So I'm going to lift a little bit. And here also. I'm going to use some Tonal Blue to add in the shadow. And I'm going to let it touch the apple in some places to get that color to blend. And look at how that makes a warm gray. Isn't that nice? Alright, so while all this is drying, I'm going to work the center of the apple. And it starts with a little bit of green. This is green gold. Now I'm going to try to be tricky and add in some of this orangey red, the cadmium scarlet red, and get it to blend slightly with the green. And hopefully it won't migrate too much into the green. I'm tempted to put green in here, but I see it's drying, so I'm just going to leave it because it's not about the color, it's about the value. I'm going to let this dry. The painting has dried, and the next step is to put in the final values, including the stem. I'll also put in a background. Not only am I adding value where I think it needs to go, I'm lifting where I think there needs to be a lighter value. Now, one of the things about these highlights is in the value study, I left the white of the paper. In actuality, the highlights are a little bit on the blue side. Very, very, very pale blue, especially here. So I'm going to try to put that in. I think I want to use ultramarine blue, but really light. Really light. Well, maybe not that white. I'm going to use a little bit of Tonal Blue to do the darkest shadow here under the apple. I'm going to feather that out a little bit. Okay, and that's about all I'm going to do there. While the center of the apple is drying, I can work on the background, which is going to be mostly shades of gray, and I'll drop in some shades of red, maybe a little bit of green, just to keep the colors throughout the composition. What I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier is I'm going to pre-wet the paper. You don't have to. If you work wet onto dry and you work quickly, you don't have to do that. But I can tell you that it's very dry again today, and I will be doing myself a favor by pre-wetting the paper. To make gray, you use opposite colors on the color wheel. You can see the blue that I put down over these highlights is barely visible. Okay, now I'm going to stop and let it dry. Let's compare the two. This is the painted value study, and this is the final painting. I did find the exercise of doing first the pencil study, then the monochromatic value study, helped me with the final painting. Now you have the knowledge to practice value charts and apply them to your watercolors. I hope you're eager to try this, and let me know in the comments if you have questions. Next in this series of videos for watercolor beginners, I will cover this one trick that you can apply to skies, water, streets, and flowers.